Then there's the contract situation of Brandon Aiyuk. Remember yesterday? I don't know if do we have that Instagram story post with John Lynch is like, hey, listen, we'd love to re-sign him long term. There's a 5th-year option for us as well. They obviously would pick that up while trying to renegotiate a long-term deal. And they're also saying, hey, we're used to re-signing our own. Remember, Deebo Samuel looked like he was history, and he's not. He's still on the team. So Brandon Aiyuk, I guess hearing those comments, 5 emojis, money, and then the talking emoji, the bull emoji, the poop emoji, and the walking emoji.
Happy Sunday, and here we go again. According to numerous reports, Brandon Aiyuk has requested a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. This is how I imagine we got to this point. The 49ers approached Aiyuk about a contract extension, and it was well below what him and his camp were expecting. They felt disrespected, so Aiyuk unfollowed the Niners on social media, and he requested a trade.
We have some breaking news coming out of the NFL, and a big news for a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are interested in acquiring a wide receiver 1 to pair up with George Pickens. Now, over the last few months, ever since the end of the Super Bowl, Brandon Aiyuk has been very, vocal and public about his situation in San Francisco, right? Obviously, he thinks he deserves a contract extension and thinks he deserves a certain amount of money. But the 49ers are saying, listen, we don't think you deserve that much, so we're not going to give you that much. So there's a little bit of a differences going on in between the Brandon Aiyuk camp and the San Francisco 49ers camp as well, which is leading a bunch of rumors to being spread saying Brandon Aiyuk this morning, as of Sunday, April 14th, has officially requested a trade. Now, this is big news for 2 AFC teams, the Baltimore Ravens, but more importantly, Omar Khan and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, according to Kyle Yates, who is actually very reliable in terms of his NFL knowledge, he says, breaking, per Legend Sports 7, 49ers wide receiver officially has requested to trade Brandon Aiyuk. Now, the report lists that the Steelers, the Ravens are teams that are heavily interested in acquiring the star wideout, along with a third mystery team. I mean, you could speculate who that team could be. Maybe it's the Patriots, maybe it's the Jets, but right away we see those 2 teams. The Steelers and the Ravens are the 2 most interested teams, and quite frankly, those are 2 teams that could really be utilized with having Brandon Aiyuk on their football team. It could even change the entire dynamic of that division. Now, in this video, we're going to break down exactly why the Pittsburgh Steelers and Omar Khan would be the ultimate fit here for Brandon Aiyuk, and he would be fitting in like a puzzle piece if he does make his way to Pittsburgh. Not only did they go out there and bring multiple different players into the system, a new offensive coordinator, a new day 1 starting quarterback, a backup quarterback in Justin Fields, who might have the most potential off the bench for any team in the NFL, as well as securing up depth in a lot of other positions as well. The Steelers are probably the most improved team this offseason, but at the same time, they're probably Super Bowl contenders. And if you add Brandon Aiyuk to that mixture, this team is going to be so tough to beat. So in this video, we're going to break down exactly why Brandon Aiyuk would be a day 1 perfect fit for the Steelers, but also we're going to break down why Omar Khan is having one of the best 2 seasons in a row in terms of free agency, the draft period. Oh my dude, the Steelers are legit, and now they're contenders once again. Now, before we dive into this video, talk a little bit about Russell Wilson, Quez Watkins, and, Justin Fields, Patrick Queen, right? Deshaun Elliott, Dante Jackson. Before we talk about those signings, I want you guys to do me a quick little favor. Hit the like button if you're new. If you want more Steelers videos throughout the rest of the offseason, including trades, the draft, pre-draft, post-draft, rookie minicamp, mandatory minicamp training, everything. If you guys want all coverage on the Steelers, make sure you guys subscribe to the family. It is free. It doesn't cost anything to join the family. And like I said before, we will be covering the Steelers for the rest of the season, offseason, everything you guys can think of. But with that being said, man, Omar Khan, you got to give a round of applause. This is probably one of the most dynamic, one of the smartest, but also one of the best GMs in the business. And he's relatively new, right? over the last 2 seasons has made game-changing moves, and it looks like they are, quite frankly, went from a team who really couldn't pass the ball, couldn't really run the ball last season, and this year, going into 2024, they look like they could have one of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL, depending on how Russell Wilson comes in here and balls out. And then you talk about Justin Fields. They got him for basically a bag of chips. You bring in Quez Watkins to kind of help develop Calvin Anderson. You have Van Jefferson, a really good route runner, but is he a day one starter? I don't know. But that's where Brandon Aiyuk will come in, right? Defensively, you already have one of the best defenses in football. Patrick Queen makes you dynamic. Coming over from the Baltimore Ravens, I mean, wow, that is a massive steal in itself. And then you talk about some guys in the secondary, like a Deshaun Elliott, like a Dante Jackson, right? You talk about the depth that they needed to go out and get. They did that to a T. But now, let's talk about what Brandon Aiyuk would mean to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Omar Khan. Now, the first thing you're going to notice about Brandon Aiyuk is his route running ability is off the charts. You pair him up with a guy like Russell Wilson, who really wants to get the football out early. I think this would be a match made in heaven. Look at this quick little whip route here. Absolutely destroys the Browns DB. But once he gets the football in his hands, he's a guy that can make plays happen left and right. And really, it's tough to stop this man, right? We also see him, he's become very reliable in the red zone area as well. Over the past 2 seasons, has a combination of 15 touchdowns. Look at this play here by Brandon Aiyuk in the red zone. Last season, the Steelers weren't really productive at all in the red zone, but look at this route here, fakes to the outside, cuts in, a little bit of a slant, boom. DB's ankles are completely broken here, and hey, you know what? This is against the Pittsburgh Steelers, so hey, you won't be doing that versus your team no more, right? And you look at what the Steelers have already offensively with Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington and George Pickens, a really good 50-50 ball receiver, Quez Watkins, Calvin Anderson, Van Jefferson, right? This team has good wide receivers, but I believe Brandon Aiyuk would pretty much put them over the hump in that position. Obviously, trading Deontay Johnson over to the Carolina Panthers, getting a starting DB in Dante Jackson. I thought that was a really smart move, but Brandon Aiyuk being such a good route runner will not only replace Deontay Johnson's productivity, but also is a guy that can score in the red zone as well. We know how tough it was for Deontay Johnson at times, but Brandon Aiyuk is just a different level of a player, right? Now, over his first couple of seasons in the NFL, wasn't highly productive, and there was even a year there in 2021 where he was thrown into the doghouse to begin the year because I think he was out partying and whatnot. But ever since that moment in time, the man has been a different ball player. Only missing 1 game in the past 3 seasons, but also catching 269 passes, over 3,900 yards, 25 touchdowns, again, over 4 seasons, and averaging 14.6 yards per catch. Brandon Aiyuk is a different breed. He can do everything well, intermediate routes, short route running. He can even get up the seams for a big-time play if you need him to do that as well. But overall, you look at this team, you have your 50-50 ball guy. You have a guy who can run decent routes in Van Jefferson, but then you have a guy in, Brandon Aiyuk can do it all, right? He can do it all very well. He can run routes. He can catch 50-50 balls like you see right there. And then he can make plays happen behind the line of scrimmage, get down the field, and just make big-time plays. Brandon Aiyuk would be a day one fit, right? But real quickly, I want you guys to comment down below, what do you think it would take to get a Brandon Aiyuk on your football team? What do you think the Steelers would have to trade to acquire Brandon Aiyuk? And again, let's watch this play here. Going to fight to the outside. Obviously, we got one deep safety look here. No help defense over the right side. And this is in the red zone. Boom. Let's lob it up here. And guys, also, by the way, Russell Wilson, underrated quarterback last season. Him and Cortland Sutton were amazing with these one-on-one football throws. I mean, Brandon Aiyuk, he can do very similar things here. And I think if you pair him up with Russell Wilson, this might be one of the most dynamic offenses in football. With everything we named, with everyone that we talked about, and then you talk about what they're going to draft, right? Probably going to be a left tackle or a right tackle to replace Dan Moore. Maybe Broderick Jones moves over to the left. You bring in a guy, that guy Amarius Mims. He could be a day one starter. I mean, that would be huge, right? I mean, you just think about the possibility, the potential of what Omar Khan is about to do. The Steelers are one of the most improved football teams I have seen in a long time. I think they made the perfect moves compared to, what they were last season, ranking number 28 in points per game. They couldn't run the football. They couldn't pass the football to save their lives. And now you add Russell Wilson, Brandon Aiyuk, and multiple different weapons here along the offense alongside Arthur Smith. yeah, the Steelers, they're here, they're coming, and they're going to be a contender next season. Now, also, like I said, comment down below, what do you think it would take to get Brandon Aiyuk? We discussed why he would be such a perfect fit, but do you think it would be worth it depending on what they give up? Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.